Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Institution of Global Professional Free International webinar. Thank you all for joining with us in this wonderful afternoon. My live audience, today I am your host for the afternoon. I am Kamrul from Bangladesh. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be associated with IGP as a global member. I feel honored to host this webinar. It's my delight to welcome you all to our IGP platform. Thank you all for joining us today in this marvelous afternoon, and it's my humble request to see you all of you stay with us till end. And don't forget to tag, share, and mention your friend. So let's together and learn together. Before we have successfully completed our 384 webinar, today I would be presenting webinar number 385 and the topic is online media and publishing. Today we have a powerful speaker from Germany. He is Andreas Klaum. He is a journalist, author, publisher, and news editor of British Newsflash magazine. And he also founder of Liberty and Peace. Let's welcome our today's speaker.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much. It's a great honor to be with you. Thank you.
And sir, please give a short description about yourself, then you can start your presentation.
Online media and publisher, welcome to all listeners, viewers, participants on this program, Online Media and Publishing. First of all, very special thanks to the IGP Institute of Global Professionals for the honor for having me with this program, Online Media and Publishing. Today I will share some knowledge, information, visions and some thoughts based upon personal experience as producer and publisher of several online media outlets since 1986. My name is Andreas Klaum, also known as Andreas Klaum Sabaoth. My grandfather from the Maoist side was in 1945 a French army officer which has been deployed for the regular French army to German city of Kaiserslautern in Germany after World War II, after 1945. Since 1984 I'm working as a journalist, author, TV and radio producer. In 1984 I've been 16 years of age and I've been born on February 6th in 1968 in the city of Ludwigshafen, Germany. Since the year 2006 I'm a registered global citizen in Sweden in the Global Citizenship Registry of politically neutral and socially responsible natural persons in Jamji in Sweden. The Global Citizenship Registry is an international non-state registry of individual global citizen, travelers and expatriates located in Sweden. More information you will get online on registryglobal.net. Thankfully to God Almighty, I've been allowed to start my career and calling as a journalist and author in the year 1984, while I've been 16 years of age. My training I have received with a local newspaper called Daily Mail, in the German language Tagespost, in the city of Speyer am Rhein in Germany. It was a quite special and unusual way to start a career as a journalist 36 years ago in Germany, back in the year 1984. Meanwhile, beside the training with local, regional, national media companies and publishing houses, in many cases a degree in journalism may be required in Germany and in Europe also. Many employers prefer a university degree and require that journalists might have studied before publishing their first article. My way on my path while working in the field of journalism, online media and publishing was quite different. I have received my training as a journalist and author by writing and publishing articles for a local newspaper in the city of Speyer am Rhein. Thankfully, I've got the blessing and the gift to write and publish thousands of articles both in the German and in the English language. The local newspaper distributed its paper as printed edition. In 1984, the World Wide Web was not known as we do know it today after almost 30 years. I'm a journalist, author, TV, media and radio producer. I'm also a presenter, singer, songwriter, music producer, keyboardist and composer. In addition, I'm also an author of 12 books published in the German and in English language, for example, such as Liberty and Peace, Now Human Rights Supporters. Liberty and Peace, Now Human Rights Supporters is one of the 12 books which I have written and published in the German and in the English language. My books are available worldwide. My music albums, which I have produced, 16 music albums and about 300 songs of music, which I have produced also and published, you will find on Apple Music, on Spotify, on Amazon for example, and many other services. As a performer, I'm known as Andreas Klamm and as Andreas Klamm Sabaoth because of my family background, because of my French grandfather, Hedi Sabaoth. In 1986, when I've been only 18 years of age, I became the first time the founder and managing director of British Newsflash magazine, which is available online on britishnewsflashmagazine.org, and of Radio IBS Liberty, which is also known as Radio IBS Leeds, IBS Independent Broadcasting Service Liberty, IBS TV Liberty, and is available on ibstelevision.org. Because of my multinational family background, these projects and publications such as British Newsflash magazine and Radio TV IBS Liberty have been dedicated from their formation and the beginning as non-commercial projects for international understanding. My intention and motivation was not to get rich, but to contribute special services for common good and for the purpose of international understanding, friendship and education. Thankfully, I've been able to receive more than one training and acquired a lot of education, which is very important to all of us. I believe education is very important and should be supported in all areas, and I'm very thankful for the service of the IGP, of the Institute of Global Professionals. From October 1990 to October 1993, I have received a training of 3 years as a registered nurse RN with diploma, and in 2003 and 2004 I've been a student in nursing management with the Protestant University of Applied Science in the German city of Ludwigshafen am Rhein. In 2004, after training, I have become also a paramedic in the city of Mannheim in Germany. From March 2013 until April 2016, I have studied journalism in Germany with the SGD study community in the city of Darmstadt in Germany with success, and I received the diploma. In 2006, I became also the founder and managing director of Regionalhilfe.de, which could be translated best as regional aid, and ISMOD, International Social and Medical Outreach Team, available on regionalhilfe.org, and I became the founder and managing editor and director of Liberty and Peace Now Human Rights Supporters, available on libertypeacenow.org. Liberty and Peace Now Human Rights Supporters is a project dedicated for the purpose of human rights, human dignity, international understanding, friendship, peace, liberty, justice, social justice, and education. Liberty and Peace Now Human Rights Supporters is a non-commercial and multinational project. The editions of Liberty and Peace Now Human Rights Supporters are distributed online on our website, including television programs and as podcasts. I've written and published 4 books in the German and in the English language, such as Liberty and Peace Now Human Rights Supporters and Liberty, Peace and Media, Amy Goodman and the Freedom of the Press, Excellent Journalists in Extraordinary Times. Online media and publishing as a powerful tool for education, peace and understanding. Without the development of the internet and online media and publishing would have not such a great impact in our world as it is known today in our world. Online media and publishing could be quite dependent after 30 years on the World Wide Web, which has been invented in the year 1989 by Tim Berners-Lee, a British scientist, which invented the World Wide Web, known also as WWW, while working at CERN. The World Wide Web was originally conceived and developed to demand for automated information sharing between scientists in universities and institutes around the world. As some of you have heard already, with the development of 5G, 6G, Neuralink and IoT, Internet of Things, AI, artificial intelligence, some scientists and entrepreneurs are not only dreaming about automated information sharing, but to connect the IoT, the Internet of Things, and all human beings, and the experience and the knowledge of all human beings, or may even the entire human mankind, for the formation of a super knowledge cloud, or may even of an all-knowing cloud, which could be able not only to share automatic information, but could also be able to create new virtual spaces and may even some kind of reality which is not known yet by readers, viewers and listeners, and might be beyond our imagination. As long as these tools are used for good, for example, common collective knowledge and sharing of information, these tools could help many people, even the disabled people and people in need. But there are also great dangers associated with new technology. What could happen, for example, if hackers, other criminals, or people which do not care about human dignity, human rights, justice, social justice, love and peace, and the conduct of journalists might use the development to connect the entire world virtually and in other ways for something bad, may to manipulate information and knowledge, may to block information, delete, erase or destroy important and vital information, or may even try to perform the control of millions, if not billions of people. We'll need people which will dare to speak in public about the safety and concern of possible threats while connecting IoT, the Internet of Things, and millions or even billions of people. If a group of people would dare to control millions, if not billions of people, by manipulating information and knowledge, this could cause serious harm to millions, if not billions of people worldwide. We will need new ethical standards, new laws, advanced measures to protect elementary and basic human dignity and human rights at any place and at any time in the world with the use of advanced technology, which will change radically in high speed our world. Online media and publisher is a quite huge opportunity for inventors, for journalists, for authors, for publishers and entrepreneurs from 2021 to 2025, a market growth of 65.31 billion of US dollar might be expected. The market size measured by revenue of the global book publishing industry is expected to be about 112.5 billion US dollar in 2022. The market size of the global book publishing industry has remained steady between the years 2017 and 2022. You are able to imagine that if such a huge amount of money is involved, there are risks and dangers which should be considered by those precious people which are getting active in the area of online media and publishing. Before getting active in the area of online media and publishing, entrepreneurs, publishers, activists, NGOs, and other organizations and directors of companies may consider the purpose of getting active in the field or industry of online media and publishing. As I've mentioned already earlier, in 1986, when I became a publisher and managing editor and director of British Newsflash magazine and of Radio TV IBS Liberty, also known as Radio TV IBS Leeds, and Independent Broadcasting Service Leeds and Independent Broadcasting Service Liberty, my motivation was not to make a lot of profit and to get rich. My motivation was a different one. It was a quite different one, such as using media, online media, and publishing as a powerful tool for sharing information, knowledge, understanding, news, and education. Therefore, I've made the decision already when I've been very young, only 18 years of age, to work under no budget and low budget conditions. My aim has been to avoid any kind of dependency of advertising companies, investors of any group, which might to seek to control shared knowledge, content, information, and education. I do love justice, liberty, peace, and love. By observing my former employer back in the year 1984, the Daily Mail newspaper in the city of Speyer am Rhein, I've noticed that the company and the publishing house is fully dependent upon advertising money and subscribers, and therefore content control and the control of the paper and media has been possible. I guess we all do know that these groups or people which do own and spend the money are able to control people, companies, NGOs, organizations of any kind and projects. If you do know your rights and your human rights, you may know also that receiving, sharing, and seeking information regardless of frontiers should not be dependent upon the financial blessings of people. In other words, I do believe that elementary basic human dignity and human rights should not be dependent upon the circumstances if someone might be poor or if someone might be rich. If money and riches would be the only measure in control, actually, the rich people would control the masses of poor people, which applies in many cases, which we didn't know, to many people, even in Europe, not only in Africa or Asia, but also in Europe, worldwide. My so-called father, which has passed away in the year 2000 already, was a former firefighter, and there was simply just no chance for an ordinary firefighter in Germany to get rich or to get a millionaire or just to get rich. I've been born into a family which has been poor and has been not rich, but already when I've been 16 years of age, in 1984, when I've started my career as a journalist and author, I had not only a dream, as perhaps Martin Luther King would say, but I had several dreams related to human dignity, love, liberty, and human rights, and to the creation of online media and media. In all efforts to reach some aims are fully dependent, if all efforts to reach some aims are fully dependent upon money and riches of people, or some people, we would live in a quite troubled world, which will need a lot of love and healing. For those getting active as a journalist, author, media workers and publishers, I do believe that all of these precious people should know the conduct of journalists. The conduct of journalists as it is written and known. Respect for the truth and for the right to the public to the truth is the first duty of a journalist. In pursuance of his duty, the journalist shall at all times defend the principles of freedom in the honest collection and publication of news and the right of fair comment and criticism. I also do believe that all people should know the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, especially Article 19. Everyone has a right to freedom of opinion and expression. This right includes freedom to hold opinions without interference and to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas through any media, regardless of frontiers. And Article 18, everyone has a right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. This right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, and freedom either alone or in community with others and in public or private to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. It is important, I do believe, that all people do know the universal rights. How in the world people which do not know their rights shall be able to claim their rights to defend liberty, justice, human rights, and human dignity. Anyone could become a journalist, an author, media worker, publisher, or an independent publisher if the business or the publishing company might be not created for commercial purpose. Online media and publishing in extraordinary times of violence and war. A call for peace, justice, and love worldwide. The world has been changed again since February 24th, 2022, with a new bloody conflict in Ukraine. Official media reports in Russia might call the ongoing events a so-called special military operation, but the effects of a so-called special military operation are similar to those of horrible violence and of war. Because of the ongoing acts of violence and conflict in the Ukraine, I want to express that my heart goes out for the people in the Ukraine and also for the precious people which in Russia dare to demand the end of war and violence and are calling for peace, liberty, justice and love. There are millions of people worldwide calling for diplomacy, political and peaceful solutions and for the end of violence and war. According to different media reports, already since 2014 about 14,000 people have been killed in the conflicts in the Ukraine. The latest media reports, which are not officially confirmed or verified, claim that about 364 people and civilians might have been killed. War and violence cannot be a solution. The number of the soldiers on both sides which have been killed in action might be different upon the sources, which might issue the numbers of those people which have been killed and have lost their lives. But we're not talking only about numbers, we are talking about precious people which have lost their lives because of violence and so-called conflict or military operations and which other people do call a war. As millions of people have expressed already worldwide, I believe also that there is no military solution for any kind of conflict. Therefore, an end of violence, fighting, and war is important. I do believe, of course, diplomacy, political and peaceful solutions should be the first priority to solve the conflict and should be brought into action instead of war and violence. The suffering should come to an end. Violence and war cannot be the solution. We should treat each other with good spirit of respect, human dignity and human rights. We should respect the right to life, health, peace, joy and happiness for all people, no matter where people to come from. Perhaps I will be able to encourage some people to use online media and publishing and arts to raise more voices worldwide for peace, liberty, justice, love and healing. Instead of killing each other, people should support each other and should provide assistance and support, especially for young, elderly, disabled people and those people which are in need. Everyone should know the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. They should promote peace, justice, love, human dignity and human rights instead of violence and war. If you perhaps might pray, please pray for peace, justice, understanding and love in Germany, in Europe, in the Ukraine, in Russia and in the entire world, please. Article 1 of the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards one another in a spirit of brotherhood. Article 2. Everyone is entitled to all rights and freedoms set forth in this declaration without distinction of any kind, such as race, color, sex, religion, political or other opinion, national, social, origin, property, birth, or other status. Furthermore, no distinction shall be made on the basis of political, jurisdictional, or international status of a country or territory to which a person belongs, whether it be independent, trust, non-self-governing, or under any other limitation of sovereignty. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, and security of person. Article 4. No one shall be held in slavery or servitude. Slavery and the slave trade shall be prohibited in all their forms. Article 5. No one shall be subjected to torture or to cruel, inhuman, degrading treatment or punishment. Article 1 to Article 5 from the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Violence and war affects all of us. Those people on the front lines, those people between the front lines, even readers, listeners and viewers which are observing the news about the development in the Ukraine and many other places where violence and conflict do cause suffering and a lot of harm. It is possible that many people that get traumatized, not only the people in the Ukraine, but also people witnessing in online media and in the media the bloodshed and the horrible acts of violence. In many cases, even journalists and media workers get hurt, wounded or killed. According to the Committee to Protect Journalists, 293 journalists and media workers are in prison. One famous journalist which suffers in prison beyond imagination from torture is the case of a journalist, Mr. Julian Assange. He should be released from prison as the 293 other journalists and media workers. They should be released from prison too. According to the International Federation of Journalists, in 2021 a number of 45 journalists and media workers have been killed. Another source, such as UN News, reported that even 55 journalists and media workers have been killed in 2021. I do believe that the duty of a journalist is a public duty, and it is for public purpose and to provide and share news, information and knowledge to all people. Another treaty which is very important, and I believe every journalist, media worker, author, publisher, all people should know about the International Covenant on the Civil and Political Rights, signed on the 16th of December in 1966. It is important for journalists and media workers to know their rights, and it is important for all people to know their rights. The International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights have been adopted and opened for signature, ratification and accession by General Assembly Resolution 2200A of December 16th in 1966. Entry into force on March 23rd in 1976 in accordance with Article 49. In Article 19, we will be able to read, everyone shall have a right to hold opinions without interference. Everyone shall have a right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to seek, receive, and impart information and ideas of all kind, regardless of frontiers, either orally in writing or in print, in the form of art or through any other media of its choice. The exercise of these rights provided for in paragraph 2 of this article carries it with it special duties and responsibilities. It may therefore therefore be subject to certain restrictions, but these shall only be such as are provided by law and are necessary for respect of the rights or reputations of others, for the protection of national security, or of public order or the republic, or of public health or morals. Article 18. Everyone shall have a right to freedom of thought, conscience and religion. This right shall include freedom to have or to adopt a religion or belief of his choice, and freedom either individually or in community with others, in public or private, to manifest his religion or belief in worship, observance, practice and teaching. No one shall be subject to coercion, which would impair his freedom to have or to adopt a religion or belief of his choice. Freedom to manifest one's religions or belief may be subject only to such limitations as are prescribed by law and are necessary to protect public safety, order, health or morals, or the fundamental rights and freedoms of others. The state parties to present covenant undertake to have respect for the liberty of parents and then applicable legal guardians to ensure the religious and moral education of their children in conformity with their own convictions. Article 6. Every human being has the inherent right to life. This right shall be protected by law. No one shall be arbitrarily deprived of his life. In countries which have not abolished the death penalty, sentence or of death may be imposed only for the most serious crimes in accordance with the law in force as the time of the commission of a crime, and not contrary to the provisions of the present covenant and to the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of a Crime of Genocide. This penalty can only be carried out pursuant to a final judgment rendered by a competent court. When deprivation of life constitutes the crime of genocide, it is understood that nothing in this article shall authorize any state party to the present covenant to derogate in any way from any obligation assumed under the provisions of a Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of a Crime of Genocide. Anyone sentenced to death shall have the right to seek pardon or communication of commutation of a sentence, amnesty, pardon, or commutation of a sentence of death may be granted in all cases. Sentence of death shall not be imposed for crimes committed by persons below 18 years of age and shall not be carried out on pregnant women. Nothing in this article shall be invoked to delay or to prevent the abolition of capital punishment by any state party to present covenant. Article 4. In time of public emergency which threatens the life of a nation and the existence of which is officially proclaimed, the states parties to the present covenant may take measures derogating from their obligations under the present covenant to extent strictly required by the exigence of the situations, provided such measures are not inconsistent with their other obligations under international law and do not involve discrimination solely on the ground of race, color, sex, language, religion, or special origin. No derogation from Article 6, 7, 8, paragraphs 1 and 2, 11, 15, 16, and 18 may be under this provision. Any state party to the present covenant availing itself of a right of derogation shall immediately inform the other state parties to present covenant through the intermediary diary of a Secretary General of the United Nations of the provisions from which it has derogated and the reason by which it was aggravated. A further communication shall be made through the same intermediary on the date which terminates such derogation. In the preamble, the state parties to the present covenant, considering in accordance with the principles proclaimed in the Charter of the United Nations recognition of the inherent dignity and of all equal inalienable rights of all members of the human families is the foundation of freedom, justice, and peace in the world. Recognizing that these rights derive from the inherent dignity of the human person, recognizing that in accordance with the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, the ideal of a free human beings enjoying civil and political freedom and freedom from fear and want can only be achieved if conditions are created whereby everyone may enjoy his civil and political rights as well as his economic, social, and cultural rights. Considering the obligation of a state under the Charter of the United Nations to promote universal respect for and observance of human rights and freedoms, realizing that the individual having duties in other individuals and of a community to which he belongs is under responsibility to strive for the promotion and observance of the rights recognized in the present covenant. Agree upon the following articles. Article 1. All people have the right of self-determination. By virtue of that right, may freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. All people may, for their own ends, freely dispose of their natural wealth and resources without prejudice to any obligations arising out of international economic cooperation based upon the principle of mutual benefit and international law. In no case may people be deprived of its own means and subsistence. The state parties to present the covenant, including those having responsibility for the administration of non-self-governing and trust territories, shall promote the realization of a right of self-determination and shall respect that right in conformity with the provisions of the Charter of the United Nations. You will find the complete version of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights from December 1996 on www.ohchr.org/cn/professional interest/pages CCPR ASPX. United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commissioner. In extraordinary times of war and violence, another article of the International Covenant on Civil Political Rights seems to be quite important, and I would like to mention Article 20. Any propaganda for war shall be prohibited by law. Any advocacy of national, racial, or religious hatred that constitutes incitement to discrimination, hostility, or violence shall be prohibited by law. We should promote peace, love, justice, human dignity, and human rights. The media, online media, and publishing could be used as a powerful tool, or may even as the most powerful tool, to promote education, peace, love, human dignity, and human rights. There are 53 articles of the International Covenant on the Civil and Political Rights from December 1966, and people do need to know their rights and need to know how to claim their rights. Journalists, authors, and media workers are able to provide education in concern of human rights, human dignity, international law, and in many other areas by using online media and publishing activities for educational purposes. Online media and publishing activities are a very powerful tool to provide education regardless of frontiers for many people, even those which are suffering because of poverty and cannot afford to attend or to study at a university or other facilities of higher education. Online media and publishing activities can be also used as a powerful tool to promote peace journalism. According to Wikipedia, peace journalism aims to shed light on structural and cultural causes of violence as they impact upon the lives of people in a conflict arena as a part of the explanation for violence. It aims to frame conflicts as consisting of many parties and pursuing many goals rather than a simple dichotomy. According to the Park University, peace journalism is when editors and reporters make choices that improve the prospects for peace. These choices including how to frame stories and carefully choosing which words are used and create an atmosphere compromising the basic principles of good journalism adopted from Lynch and McGoldrick. Peace journalism. Peace journalism gives peacemakers a voice while making peace initiatives and non-violent solutions more visible and viable. The Peace Journalist magazine is associated with the Center for Global Peace Journalism of the Park University. The Park University is a private, non-profit institution of higher learning since 1875. The university is located in the state of Missouri in the United States of America. The institution can be found in the city of Parkville. The October 2021 edition celebrates the magazine's 20th issue with a study from Dr. Jake Lynch, analyzing coverage of peace journalism seminars, as well as reports from Zimbabwe, Spain, India, Pakistan, and elsewhere. To study journalism and to become a media worker, I believe anyone can become a journalist, author, media worker, or get involved in creative artwork, or may become a publisher or even an independent publisher. Many companies in Germany do require a degree and expect that their staff might have studied journalism, but this is not in all cases not in all cases required. But even without studying journalism, there are ways and paths for training with media organizations, local papers, regional papers, companies, radio stations to get a training in journalism via publishing stories, news articles, and doing practicing by doing. For those people which want to study journalism in Germany, you will find 9 well-known universities in Germany to study journalism, and which do offer something which is known as best bachelor degrees in journalism at universities in Germany. For example, some of the universities, I'm not able to mention all of them, but it's the IU, the International University of Applied Science, the University of Rostock, the Ludwig Maximilian University of Munich, the Free University of Berlin, the University of Leipzig, the Technical University Berlin, the Aschaffenburg University of Applied Science, and the Hildesheim University. Of course, there are plenty of other universities and institutions where you might study journalism and where you get a good education. People may choose to study journalism, for example, publishing, media, and communication studies. Other people may choose to get a training of 2 up to 3 years with one of the many media organizations, publishing houses, or media companies, TV and radio stations, for example. Other people may choose to get a training instead joining or attending a university. Employment, online media and publishing activities. In 2019, Germany has recorded the highest share in people employed in publishing activities. In 2019, there were almost 2.4 million journalists in the 21 EU member states with available data representing 0.2% of the total EU employment. As observers might expect, rapid updates on the coronavirus development and the development in the Ukraine, they are set for a double challenge: informing the public whilst also being affected in the work by government restrictions related to coronavirus, and meanwhile because of the ongoing conflict and war situation in the Ukraine. In terms of economic activities associated with journalism, 1.1 million they're employed in the 27 EU member states in publishing activities such as publication of books. Books, for example, which is one of mine, and of newspapers, magazines, and journals. This is equivalent to 0.5% of total EU employment. In Germany, 1.3% of the share of employed people in publishing activities have been recorded with Eurostat. 1.3% have been recorded with Eurostat in Germany. Amy Goodman and Democracy Now! Award-winning journalists Amy Goodman and Joan Gonzalez are, with their daily news hour Democracy Now!, a great example for independent media and even online media. You will find the website on democracynow.org. Democracy Now! In New York City, United States of America, produces a daily global independent news hour hosted by award-winning journalists Amy Goodman and Joan Gonzalez. The reporting of Democracy Now! Includes breaking daily news, headlines, in-depth interviews with people on the front lines of the world's most pressing issues. On Democracy Now! You will hear a diversity of voices speaking for themselves, providing a unique and sometimes provocative perspective on global events. Democracy Now! Is broadcast daily across the United States and Canada as well as in countries around the world. The independent program is on Pacifica, NPR, community, college and satellite radio stations, on PBS, public, community and satellite TV, and viewed by millions of people online each day. The headlines of Democracy Now! Are broadcast in Spanish on radio stations across the United States, Central and South America and in Europe. Democracy Now! Launched in 1996, airing on 9 radio stations. More than 2 decades later, Democracy Now! Have grown to be one of the leading US-based independent daily news broadcasts in the world. As an independent news program, Democracy Now! Is audience supported, which means that the editorial independence is never compromised by corporate or government interests. Since the founding in 1996, Democracy Now! Has held steadfast to the policy of not accepting government funding, corporate sponsorship, underwriting or advertising revenue. Amy Goodman has received more than 60 awards. In 2006, she has received the Right Livelihood Award from the Right Livelihood Foundation and its founder Jacob von Yxkull in Stockholm in Sweden. Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! Said in 2006 in one of her speeches after receiving the Right Livelihood Foundation, which is also known as the Alternative Nobel Prize by the Right Livelihood Foundation in Stockholm in Sweden. Quote of a speech from Amy Goodman: "We need to go where the silence is. The US president had something which is more powerful than any bomb and more powerful than any missile. He had the media. He had the media of the United States, and that is unforgivable. We are not supposed to be a party to the parties. We are supposed to be independent. We are supposed to be the check and balances." Amy Goodman and David Goodman wrote and published also the book Static: Government Liars, Media Cheerleaders and People Who Fight Back. This is a book by Amy Goodman and David Goodman, which I'm able to recommend to read for all journalists, authors, media workers and people which are active in the industry or in the field of online media and publishing or in social justice and justice. In the book Static: Government Liars, Media Cheerleaders and People Who Fight Back, the journalist and author Amy Goodman presents the voices of people and of political dissidents, activists and others who demand accountability from their government leaders but who are too often frozen out of official debates. Global family of peace and love and understanding and justice. Probably you have heard about HWPL, Heavenly Culture, World Peace and Restoration of Light, which has been founded by Chairman Manhee Lee, and the precious HWPL staff is an international, multinational NGO based in Korea and dedicated for peace and world peace, and has been founded in 2006 by Chairman and known Pastor Manhee Lee. For some reasons, I do believe that all of us do know from the beginning that what is good and evil from young ages of childhood. Many of us received some kind of education, and we received the gift to learn that it is not good to steal, not good to behave in a bad manner, to lie to someone or to mistreat our fellow human beings. We also might have learned the truth and telling of our people that the truth is important, how truth is related to war, conflicts and peace. Truth deserves all rights and the coverage of many brave women and men to be protected, to be defended worldwide. Perhaps some of our listeners might have heard a phrase like the first victim of violence, conflicts, regional so-called conflicts, and of war is the truth. This is sadly true in almost any case. Truth is the first victim of war or so-called regional conflicts, so-called special military operations, violence, so-called conflicts and wars. Readers, listeners, viewers, media professionals, people and journalists do know very well that negative related news do attract in many cases more attention than good news. It is important for all of us to know about this because it is a chance that we might improve our life and the lives of many other people. We might be able to learn and might be able to understand that good news and sharing good news is very important, and in some cases it could be life-saving and a wonderful tool for many other people and to improve their lives, and a wonderful opportunity on our way to peace, to global peace, to justice, love, goodness, social justice. In 1968, I've been born in the German city of Ludwigshafen am Rhein, which is close to Heidelberg in Germany, but by God's grace I've been born into a multinational family from Africa and Europe, from Tunisia, France and Germany. I do consider this as a gift from above, made from the Lord God and or universal high powers, no matter how you may want to call it. As you do know, until May 8th, 1945, Germany has been involved in committing horrible crimes against humanity and horrible crimes of war. This is very hard, sad, and painful for all people which have been involved. It is a huge trauma for those people which have been called aggressors of war, and certainly it was a huge trauma for those which have been victims of crimes against humanity and even war crimes. For some reason, I'm quite sure that most of our listeners do know that very well that even in our days, more than 77 years after World War II, many people are still suffering because of the aftermath of the Holocaust and World War II. According to different sources, 55 million up to 60 million people have got killed during World War II. This is horrible, beyond our imagination. This War and Peace Report related on the issue using online media and publishing as tools for peace, understanding and education is based upon personal, special experience. Already when I've been quite young, I started to question people about my grandparents from the mother's side. Both my grandmother, Mrs. Martha College, and my grandfather, French Army officer Mr. Elie Savard, disappeared after 1945. This caused me to question people and to do a lot of research worldwide. By God's grace and thankfully to the government of Australia, I've been able to find my own grandmother from the mother's side, Mrs. Martha College, in the city of Melbourne, in the state of Victoria in Australia. Since 1984, when I've been 16 years of age, I'm still looking and performing a worldwide research for my own grandfather, former French Army officer Mr. Elie Savard, which is still missing. He was an officer of a regular French army, and he is still missing 77 years after World War II. In 1984, when I've been 16 years of age, I started to write my first articles for local newspapers, such as the Daily Mail, called in the German language Tagespost in the city of Speyer am Rhein. Thanks to cable TV, which has been distributed in the beginning of 1984, I became also a radio producer and television producer when I've been 16 years of age. Already as a youth activist, I've been able to study and to learn about the media should provide check and balances. Certainly, media should not act as media cheerleaders for government or any other group of interest. The media and all people engaged in the media should fulfill their role to be fair, respectfully, and should provide check and balances. Every journalist and everyone which is working for the media, I do believe, no matter what kind of media, should know the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights and the conduct of journalists as it is written. I do read this. Respect for the truth, for the right to the public, to the truth, is the first duty of a journalist. In pursuance of its duty, the journalist shall at all times defend the principles of freedom and the honest collection and publication of news and the right of fair comment and criticism. Why this is very important, remember please, who is the first victim of war? The truth is the first victim of war, followed by human dignity, human rights, followed by vulnerable people, such as children, young people, the youth, women, people which do suffer because of disability and discrimination, and elderly people. Please try to answer one question. Please, are you able and will mankind be able to live without war? I do believe every one of us does know the answer. Please try to answer the second question. Are you and will you be able, or will mankind be able to live without peace? On a long-term condition, for example, for many reasons I do believe that we all do know the answer. All of us will be able to be happy and to live as long as possible and in harmony with love, peace and justice, with dignity. War could be considered as a thief of the night, entering the gates of a gatekeeper by surprise and trying to rob us of our friends, family, loved ones, our health, our life, our homes, our job opportunities, our future, our ability to be good students, to study for good education and development. War could be considered as hatred, violence and crime against humanity, which is also known and mentioned in the Roman Statute of the International Criminal Court, ICC, in Den Haag by international law. There is a lot of discussion ongoing about peace journalists and their role, which is good and important. We should have much more active peace journalists in Germany and in Europe and even in the world, I do believe, which dare to promote and to stand for human dignity, for human rights, for justice, for social justice, social security, climate justice, respect, love, understanding, dialogue, and for peace. Education for universal rights, justice, and peace is not only important for peace journalists and those people working for the media, online media, and in the publishing industry. It is important for all people to know universal rights and how to achieve love, justice, and peace. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 1. All human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights. They are endowed with reason and conscience and should act towards another in the spirit of brotherhood. Article 3. Everyone has a right to life, liberty, security of person. Article 19. Everyone has the right to freedom of opinion expression. This right includes to hold opinion without interference and to seek, receive, and import information and ideas through any media regardless of frontiers. Article 18, everyone has the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion, and this right includes freedom to change his religion or belief, either alone or in community with others, and in public or private, or to manifest his religion or belief in teaching, practice, worship, and observance. There are proclaimed and written 30 articles in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The corona crisis and the war in the Ukraine has hit the entire global community very hard, and all of us suffered quite a lot. With the corona crisis and the war in the Ukraine, in some sense, there appeared a lot of false information, lies, and even propaganda, which we do know that all war do start with one or even more lies and rumors of different kind. Some people call this fake news, some other might call it rumors of whatsoever kind, false information, not providing check and balances. Spreading rumors, lies, and false information is dangerous and may cause additional serious harm beside the effects of the corona crisis or of the so-called conflicts, so-called special military operations, and even war. How we will be able to protect and defend ourselves and our loved ones, no matter if you are a journalist working as a staff for the media, online media, or if you are involved in publishing, or if you are an activist for peace. For the youth, please consider the following guidelines and questions before you do share information around the world. We all are, in some sense, connected globally and worldwide, I do believe. But there are some questions which will help all of us to find out what the source of the news and what the intention of some sharing of information could be. The questions: who made it? Number 1. Number 2, what is the source? Number 3, where did it come from? Number 4, why are you sharing this? Number 5, then was it published? 6, who will pay for sharing the information? 7, who will profit from the effects and side effects of sharing such information? 8, will sharing of information cause harm to people, institutions, organizations, government, or anyone else? What might be the intention of the information, fair and just information, or causing harm or negative side effects? 10. Will you be able to perform cross-checks? For example, will you be able to reach the author, journalist, media, news media, publisher, or the agency distributing the information? 10 simple questions which will perhaps help you and prevent you from sharing not accurate information or even perhaps false information, which could cause quite a lot of harm and damages for people and institutions, companies, and even government. If journalists and people working for the media, online media and publishing will follow the conduct of journalists, their attitude in sharing information should not be to harm people or to cause damage to people and organizations or other groups. The intention should be based upon human dignity, human rights, goodness, love, peace, fair and just and respectful information. Are there some simple steps to achieve and to promote peace, human dignity and human rights at any place, for example, in your community, at the university, at your workplace, or other places somewhere in the world, or even on the World Wide Web? Perhaps 5 actions will help you to achieve and to promote love, justice and peace in your local community and even perhaps throughout the world. These 5 peace actions are based upon the concept of world citizen, peacesites.org. You will find the concept of the word citizen on peacesites.org, based in St. Paul in the United States of America. Seek peace within yourself and others. Reach out in service. 3. Protect animals, nature and environment. 4. Respect diversity. And 5. Be a responsible citizen, global citizen of the world. I'm very thankful unto HWPL, Harmony Culture for Peace Restoration of Light, and to Chairman Manuel Lee, and to all of these other precious people and co-workers engaged with other groups, organizations, and even NGOs for love, justice, social justice, human dignity, human rights, understanding, and peace. And I'm very thankful for IGP, for international global professionals sharing, providing providing the platform to share information, experience, and knowledge. And I'm very thankful for this. And I want to give very special thanks. HWPL, Heavenly Culture, World Peace Restoration of Light, has proclaimed and published already the DPCW, which is known as Declaration of Peace and Cessation of War, and this could be vital and important part for the effort in law for peace. I do believe beside all of the efforts for law for peace, we will need dialogue and all of all people, and people of different kind of belief systems, faith-based missions, and religions of all of us, including journalists and those people working for media, online media, and those working in the field of publishing. We need access to information and education for human rights, human dignity, love, justice, and peace. To all of my precious co-workers for love, justice, social justice, human dignity, human rights, and peace, to all of our listeners and participants, I wish you love, justice, peace, liberty, understanding, and health. For those which want to join probably one of these well-known journalist organizations in Europe, I guess the IFG, the International Federation of Journalists, with its about 1,600,000 members, is very well known. And if you may visit one time Germany and want to study or visit Germany and study journalism or communication studies and publishing, you might get a member of a Verdi union, which is very well known and offers quite a lot of great opportunities for journalists, for writers, for media workers, and for authors. Thank you very much for having me with me and for this opportunity to share some of my thoughts, visions, and experience related to online media journalism and publishing, and which is based upon personal experience. Thank you very much. Peace be unto all of you, and love and justice.
Thank you very much, sir, for your marvelous presentation. We are very grateful to you for your outstanding presentation today. I hope this season will be very effective to our audience as you share your intelligent knowledge with us. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, we will come back to again in our platform after the quiz competition. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Dear participants, we start our quiz competition now. So the code is quiz IGP. Quiz IGP. Now, start the video. Only 7% now join already join with us. The code for quiz is IGP quiz. You should use the browser www.slido.com and the code is IGP quiz. And also the link given in our comment box. In a short time we start our quiz. Join at slido.com and the quiz code is IGP quiz. And also the link in our comment box. Now start the quiz right now. Our first question is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Right has been signed in 1949, 1966 and 1967. 1966 is the right answer. On the leaderboard, the first place is Alex Javier Alvarez. Now we move to our second question. According to International Federation of Journalists, how many journalists have been killed in 2021? Is 45 or 55? 45 is the right answer, and 81% of our participants give the correct answer. On the leaderboard, Evelyn now leading the first position. How many members are recorded with the International Federation of Journalists? 130 or 600? 600 is the right answer. And 43% of our participants give the right answer. On the leaderboard again, Evelyn now leading the first position. Our next question is, when was the World Wide Web invented? 1989 or 1957? 989 is the right answer, and 81% of our participants gave the right answer. Again, Evelyn leading the first position. Our next question is, how many websites had used WordPress in 2021? Over 455 million websites, over 250 million websites. 71% of our participants gave the right answer, and the answer is over 455 million websites. On the leaderboard, again Evelyn leading the first position. Our next question is, how many journalists in the USA are women? 50% or 40%? 85% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is 50%. Our next question is, how many journalists and media workers have been, according to CPJ, committed to protect journalists in prison? 95 or 293? 71% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is 293. Our next question is, how many universities to study journalism are mentioned for 2014 in Germany? 40 or 9? 43% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is 9. On the leaderboard, Evelyn leading the first position. Our second last question is, journalists are not supposed to research articles. Is it true or false? 86% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is false. Our last and final question, the main duty of journalists is to gain or to reach high level of audience. Is it true or false? I think the right answer is false. 71% of our participants give the right answer, and the answer is false. Congratulations of our top 10 participants. Thank you all for joining the quiz competition. Thank you all. Now we move to our question and answer session. Welcome back, sir. Sir, I hope you are ready to answer the question. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, I'm able to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Participants are requested to ask their question in comment box. Don't hesitate to ask the question. Our lovely speaker are now ready to answer the question. Dear participants, if you have any question, please comment in our comment box.
Thank you.
So we have one question from Asif Azim. What percentage of people you think are doing true journalism nowadays?
I would say you mean the percentage of people which are working as journalists, authors, or media workers and doing true journalism. I would hopefully believe that 70 up to 85% are doing true journalism nowadays.
Thank you, sir.
The majority.
Sir, our next question from Evelyn. Good afternoon, sir. Does new media coverage increase the objectivity of the media and information provided to the public? And thank you.
I guess diversity is very important, and the new media, online media, is very important. It offers great opportunities, and it could, if it is used wisely, it could increase the objectivity. It's dependent upon who will get involved in online media and new media, and it is dependent upon their education, what kind of sort of education, and certainly also dependent upon their motivation and intention. We need certainly we need some tools to check the information which is provided, um, but it will be able to increase. The voices should be heard, I believe. They should be not silenced, and we have to check the information where it comes from and if it is accurate.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Our next question also from Asif Azim. Do you think online media is good, but many people are using just for fun and wasting their valuable times?
I believe online media is good, and the time should be used wisely, and it should be used for providing good information. Should be used to provide education, to provide information about human rights, human dignities, and many websites, millions of websites do offer wonderful and excellent information if you do consider, for example, the websites of the communities, the villages, the universities, the institutes. There are millions of websites which do provide wonderful and great information. So we're not just using it just for fun. Um, of course, we are all responsible for ourselves also how we use the online media and for what kind of purpose.
Thank you, sir, for your clear answer. Dear participants, we are waiting for our next question. Participants are requested to ask their question in comment box. Don't hesitate to ask the questions. Sir, our next question from also Asif Azim. Which are the top 5 countries who are using online media the most?
Hmm, it was a very good question, important question. I would have to check it, and I don't want to spread false information. I have to guess it because I've not checked it yet for the webinar. I would believe actually online media is quite a lot of in use in the United States of America, in Europe, and in Asia, China, definitely four, and even meanwhile in Africa because of social media. With top five countries: United States of America, China, and what's it just Germany and the United Kingdom. But this is a guess only. I would have to check this information. So one of them is the United States.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your valuable knowledge with us. Thank you very much.
I can think so to you.
I hope our participants also effective from your knowledge. Thank you very much, sir. Dear knowledge seeker, I would be love to thank you all from my deep heart for attending today's session. I hope you will learn something new and you will implement it in your life. Dear participants, we are very sorry to say that our website is not working well. For that, we can't share our code. We hope our technical team let's recover it very soon. Thank you very much for joining us today.